Hello, I am Sinfogel, and today we're checking out the Grass-type Masters High Score event. Our goal today is reaching 180k points to unlock all the rewards. But if you're looking to break into Master rank to earn the medal, I will be teaching some team building concepts that can help you earn a higher score. For this guide, I stuck with relatively accessible Grass-type pairs, some gachas from the general pool, as well as some Egmons. However, I will also give recommendations for better pairs you can bring for each stage. So, high score events are endgamey content. The unfortunate reality is that you need a fair amount of resources for a decent score. We are talking full sync grids and decent lock skills. Fortunately, this is one of the easier high score iterations, so this makes good practice to ease into the idea. In this event, you have to defeat 5 Champion Stadium style matches, and your score is graded based on a few criteria. Most importantly, Grass theme skills are everything here. The easiest approach is bringing 15 Grass type pairs and totaling 750 strength across your clears. But Sin, what can I do if I don't have enough Grass type pairs? You can bring your strongest Master Fair or someone who hits the stage's centermon super effectively to carry a couple Grass types. But you have to pump your strength setting to compensate for the lack of the Grass type score multiplier. With all that said, the event rules give us another source of points. For example, the time trial rule is asking us to speedrun the stage, but this is the kind of setting that's difficult to optimize without hurting other areas. So unless you go overboard and take 10 minutes to complete a fight, this is 3 points as far as I'm concerned. The aim for more damage rule is essentially tracking your damage ceiling across an encounter. If you dealt 20,000 damage or more in a single hit, you cap this score. The easiest way of accomplishing that is with a 6-star-EX tech sync move on the grassy terrain. As for the more attacks rule, in every fight you will notice a hit tally in the bottom right corner of the screen. If you reach 50 hits, you cap this score. This means that pairs with spread moves earn you more points. And there are several grass-type utility pairs with Razor Leaf. That's 3 points right there. Lastly, we have some challenge bonuses. You can earn extra points by summoning Sunny Day, which can be done with OG Lyra, Adaman, Sinasud Erika, and Sinasud Acerola. There is also a bonus for bringing pairs with a main character or a nature lover theme skill onto your teams, which is very easy to do given the abundance of grass-type starters running amok. Before getting started, I want to run you through a crash course on sleep chains. Ooh. Grass-type pairs have the peculiarity of owning many sleepers between Ramos and Egmons. And the sleep is fundamentally broken. It's the most accurate stagger in the game, so with a basic grasp of the turn order, you can delay enemy damage, make enemies more predictable, all that good stuff. And when you deconstruct the turn order, it's somewhat primitive. Most stages in Pokémon Masters follow a set turn order, which is center, right, center, left, repeat, with sync moves taking priority. When you successfully stagger a foe, its trainer is then forced to use a trainer move if they have any. And in the case of high score events, when a foe recovers from sleep, they activate Resilience, which is that little shield icon that protects them from status conditions for a little while. What you want to do is queue your sleeper last every turn and have them follow the turn order. And there you go, profit. It really is that simple. Alright, let's kick this off with Mallow. Mallow herself doesn't do anything terribly complex, but her stage condition could catch you off guard. This stage drastically lowers the effectiveness of special damage, so you want to stick with physical strikers, pairs like Costume Sonia, Victor, Lush Gloria, Adaman, pairs with physical moves and physical sync moves, so Brendan is off the table. Malo also has a ghost weakness, so Celine has a decent play in here with her Spirit Shackle. Besides that, you have to watch out for physical damage. To my knowledge, the only special move in this stage is Decidueye is Swift, which it only uses after the Center Moon faints, so focus on raising your defense, dropping Maloi's attack if you can. By the way, Maloi's team avoids grass-type moves, which makes Grassy Terrain very tempting. Sinnoh Acerola in particular gives you the benefit of a physical damage filter while Grassy Terrain is up, which makes her a near-perfect defensive response for Malo. As for the team, we have OG Dawn, Celine, and support Tangela. I found that OG Dawn it's this stage for breakfast. Her physical bulk is remarkable, so she's got you covered. Problem with Dawn is that she's purely a defensive support, which mandates a self-sufficient striker. Celine fits the bill, but she has some setup issues, so I brought the support Tangela to glue the team together. Support Tangela raises plus 4 attack, plus 2 defense, plus 2 speed, and as a little treat, it also comes with Reflect to help cushion Maloi's physical damage. But if you missed out on support Tangela, a secondary striker or Sleep Egmons are likewise viable. Celine has a standard nuking grid, but I opted for Ramming Speed to improve Spirit Shackle. And Dawn's grid is unusual. She only cares about healthy healing and maybe quick cure to recover from a rock slide flinch. But since I have support Tangela to complete the party's defense buffs, I dropped X defense all NPRs in favor of a bunch of Razor Leaf tiles. Dawn is going to click a Razor Leaf a lot, so that bump in damage adds up over time. Also, Dawn has innate vigilance, so her lock skill is flexible. Unbending prevents Rock Smash debuffs, but you could go with Ghost Guard or Defense Crush too. So, the reason I am showing this clear first is that at first I went with a string setting of plus 150, but it was piece easy, so I bumped it up to plus 250. And I racked up enough points where this had a ripple effect in the rest of the run, where I could drop a strength in the other stages. This team can tolerate a plus 250 strength due to the combination of Celine E630X and the robust defensive backbone formed by Dawn plus support Tangela. If you are following this guide and struggle against Malo because you cannot replicate a similar party formation, I suggest dropping this stage's strength setting and bumping it in the other ones, so keep that in mind. With all that said, after setting up your buffs, you want Dawn to spam Razor Leaf, reason being the more attacks metric. Seed Bomb is a better damaging move than Razor Leaf, but Razor Leaf builds up more points because it hits more enemies. Meanwhile, you want Celine to hound Malo with a Spirit Shackle. With this setup, Celine lacks a perfect critical hit rate, so she's going to miss a few Spirit Shackle crits here and there, but the super effectiveness makes it a better move than Leaf Blade. And Celine's innate Soften Up 1 helps her crit her sync moves anyway. As for support Tangela, best it can do is cast a Reflect right before Maloi's sync move. This way, Reflect will filter Maloi's sync damage as well as the Earthquake that comes soon afterwards. There is an argument to be made that Celine should Spirit Shackle the Simons in order to activate her Restraining Sync Cap 5 multiplier, but I found that extra damage unnecessary because you have Dawn right there spamming Razor Leaf, which is slowly whittling down the Simons. That's enough extra damage over the course of 3 sync moves, but you do you. Oh, here's a fun trick. Right before Celine wipes the stage with her sync move, I have Dawn use Razor Leaf before that happens to earn a few extra hits, and that put me right on the threshold for 50 hits.
Wow,
But yeah, Malo is fairly simple. What matters the most is having a competent 6-star EX striker to make up for Dawn's passiveness. Coming up next, we have Ramos. This stage has no special conditions. Our friend Fue Boomer has an affinity for a special offense. Ramos' Gogoat likes using Gale Rain and Surf for spread damage, so this stage is a good candidate for your best tank. Think the caliber of Variety Malo or Holiday Sycamore. For a very budget option, consider Support Vileplume. It has X special defense all, but as an Egmont, it cannot take any hits whatsoever. You want to raise your special defense because Ramos raises his own special attack. He has a Team Grand Entry 1 and he uses X special attack all right before sinking, so he gets violent by the minute. Alternatively, you could drop Ramos' special attack to nerf his output, but most grass type pairs depend on passives in order to do that. This stage is categorically made for custom Rosa, because she has the Sweet Scent plus Shuddering Snarl 9 combo, so she drops Ramos' special attack very fast. Following those principles, OG Erika is also a decent Ramos check. She raises her special defense, and she can drop a special attack with Stun Spore Satisfied Snarl 9. Likewise, Sinnoh Leaf has Discourage 1, and Mixed Red can drop attack and special attack whenever he lands a move. For this squad, I brought Rosa, Brendan, and our own Ramos. You will notice a distinct lack of a defensive backbone. I could scrap something with OG Erika, but I think Sleep achieves better results. As I mentioned on the Sleep chaining section, Sleep is super cheesy. You can use it to control the turn order and delay enemy damage, so it makes up for this party is defensive deficiencies. Now, a side effect of Sleep is that it conflicts with other status conditions. For example, I would like to bring Lush Sycamore, whose Slush Bomb hits Gogoat for super effective damage, but if he were to accidentally poison Gogoat, then I cannot put it to sleep anymore. So this quirk makes pairs like BP Barry, OG Erika, and BP Erika less desirable for a Sleep chain. Brendan is a whatever good stuff self-sufficient striker, could be anybody. Rosa helps out with her 6-star EX support buff, as well as her trainer move, which recharges gauges to ease rotations. And Ramos is our sleeper. Note Brendan's primary offense is Leaf Storm, which drops special attack by a couple stages when used. Dauntless as a lucky skill negates that debuff altogether, but if your lucky cookies are griefing you, remember Brendan can recharge his special attack with his trainer move, and Rosa is X special attack all can refill him a couple times. Brendan wants to read Leaf Storm accuracy tiles as well as Amtad 1 in order to raise his speed and boost his inertia sync multiplier. Rosa and Ramos have minimalistic grids. They don't actually need grid passives. Ramos has Sleep Powder accuracy tiles, but if you were to give him Troublemaker 1 as a lucky skill, you can skip his Sync Orbs altogether. For this clear, I went with a strength setting of plus 100. This is very mild for high score event standards. Granted, this is an opportunity I can afford thanks to all the strength I pumped back on Malo's stage. This team could comfortably handle plus 150 strength if you are looking to earn more points. Anyway, one of the more important skills you build while sleep chaining is gauge management. It's easy to get stuck in the mentality of prioritizing Brendan's Sleep Storms, gung-ho, spamming damage, but that could deprive Ramos of the opportunity of locking enemies with Sleep Powder. Keep an eye on your gauge. Always have a couple bars available for Sleep Powder, and use Ross's trainer move to help you out on emergencies. So, is Ramos' utility limited to Sleep Powder? Sort of. Putting enemies to sleep is his priority, but if all enemies have Resilience active, then you could use Bullet Seed instead. And Bullet Seed is a multi-strike move. It can hit anywhere from 2 to 5 times, and that is good news for the more attacks score metric. Here I aimed the Brendan in sync move towards Appleton. Even though I could remove Gogode from the field right now, I have a turn to spare, and Gogode is low enough to where I can defeat it with a single Leaf Storm before it can sync. So Brendan in sync damage is better spent removing Appleton, and this has the side effect of isolating Executor. And you know what happens when a foe is all alone and you put them to sleep? They can only watch helplessly as you attack over and over and over again before they get a chance to wake up. I took this opportunity to spam Bullet Seed with both Brendan and Ramos to build up some hits and improve my score. This is the power of sleep, man. No recovery, no defensive buffs, and I came from that fight nearly unscathed. Moving on, we have Erika, and she has a very annoying gimmick. Her team is completely immune to all status conditions and all interferences. Very bad news for sleep gamers. Xenosuit Lyra is in shambles, but this is more so important for pairs who depend on status conditions for multipliers, so you want to avoid Xenosuit Leaf, Mallow, or the Sword. Furthermore, you cannot chase Erika with staggers, so you have to resist the brute force of her output. And Erika has a mixed coverage, so you want mixed tanks. Examples include Shona, BP Barry, Holiday Sycamore. As if that wasn't annoying enough, Erika's party has Endurance. Victor can bypass that thanks to his Ignite Piercing Blows. That's an option to consider. Lastly, Erika casts Stun Spore right before sinking, and unfortunately it's just a single target paralysis. Erika lacks dumb passives to spread it around, so you can counteract that with Natural Remedy or Light, or you can also ignore it. It's not a catastrophic concern. Considering Erika's stage condition, I think the best approach is composing a dual strike core and overload Erika with damage, but you need a robust support to make that happen. I think Shona is an excellent response to Erika because she has Mini Potion All and Spiky Shield. Spiky Shield blocks one instance of damage, but when Shona blocks an attack successfully, she raises the party's defense and special defense by one stage, which covers for Erika's mixed offenses. With that starting point, I brought a couple physical damage dealers who benefit from Shona's trainer move. Xenosuit Erika is a very strong pair with Sun Compression, so she can partner up with Sun Strikers such as Brendan or Gardenia. But you know me, I took it a step further and brought Strike Grookey, just furthering my Eggman agenda, but this little guy bears a Solar Blade, much like Xenosuit Erika, so it fits this team like a glove. Shona has a standard Mini Potion All tanking grid with a Natural Remedy to recover from Erika's Stun Spore, as well as Rejuvenate 6 to recharge Gauge when she sinks. And Xenosuit Erika has a standard off-type damage grid with Solar Blade Fast Track 9 to build speed races. Since my Shona is a 630x 3-5 potential, I figured this party could handle plus 150 strength. Honestly, you could go higher, but my final score tally ended up going over points anyway. Nevertheless, Solar Blade in Pokémon Masters works similarly to how it does in the main series games. It is a 2-turn charging move, but you can skip the charging phase when the weather is sunny. So delay Sunny Day as late as you can to ensure Sun is active as you spam Solar Blade. Oh, that's right, Strike Grookey has a Razor Leaf, my favorite. I used it a few times with doing Sun Cycles to accumulate some extra hits. Now that Shona activated her 630x support sync buff, we can engage our offense. Notice I have Erika use Solar Blade on the Simons. That's set up for endgame denials. Speaking of 2-turn moves, Shona's Spiky Shield counts as a 2-turn blocking move, but unlike a Solar Blade, we cannot skip the quote-unquote charging phase, and that eats a turn in your sequence. That makes it difficult to defeat Erika before she sinks, also referred to as pre-sinking. But Shona can patch up the party with Mini Potion all, so that's alright. Remember, Erika's innate tech multiplier is Solar Flare, so cast Sunny Day right before her sync move is ready. Also, sync moves bypass endurance, so your goal really is dropping the opposing Erika down to a range where you can knock her out with a sync move. Afterwards, it should only take one Solar Blade plus an extra hit to knock out the Sidemon's past endurance. And there you go. Fairly straightforward clear, but honestly, Shona is carrying the whole team on her back. Up next, we have Gardenia. Her stage is very similar in flavor to Mallow's, so we can take many cues from that section and apply them here. The greatest difference between Gardenia and Mallow are their stage conditions, and Gardenia does not even compare. This stage drops your gauge from 6 bars down to 4 bars, which is par for the course for Champion Stadium regulars. But you should avoid 4-bar moves if you lack the gauge to compensate. Gardenia specializes in physical offense, and strangely enough, she doesn't use any grass type moves, which makes Grassity Rain a safe bet. This stage favors physical walls, you know, Dawn, Lush Blue. Adaman is also great here thanks to his Xeno Pride master passive. And dropping Gardenia's attack is also somewhat important, because she uses X-Attack Call right before sinking, and that's going to hurt. Taking all that into consideration, this is Mixed Red's best stage, perhaps. His Grassity Rain goes totally unpunished, and he has the capacity of dropping Gardenia's attack. Actually, if you combo him with Sinasol Lyra, you can manage some insane strength settings. Top scores are doing plus 1000 strength with Dawn, Mixed Red and Sinasol Lyra, so that's an idea. By this point, I was struggling for strikers, but here we have Mallow. She debuffs attack, that's helpful. Mallow is strong, she has a solid nuke range, but she is fickle. Her nuke has a fair amount of conditionals, so she makes you work to reach her full potency. First of all, Mallow's innate tech multiplier is Fuzzy Strike, that's confusion based, and her grid has access to Pecking Order, that's attack drop based. Mallow's kit handles both, but you still wanted to raise her critical hit rate and buff her attack. Not only that, you have to find a support who raises the party's defense to handle Gardenia herself. And Lush Blue is that unicorn of a support. Third slot is flexible. I went with Tech Lithium for Grassity Rain and good old Razor Leaf. You know we love Razor Leaf around these parts. But you could replace it with a secondary striker or a Sleep Eggmon. Mallow has a standard nuking grid with Dropkick Overwhelm 9 to ramp up Pecking Order faster. Note my Mallow is very heavily invested with the 630X potential and Critical Strike 2, but with the string setting I picked, you should still hit the same nuke denials I went for. Meanwhile, Lush Blue has quality of life amenities. X-Attack Call NPR2 to attempt to maximize Mallow's attack, Trade Move Pepper Rally 1 to improve the party's gauge, and Stomp Aggravation 1 to improve his odds of disrupting the enemy. We're going back to a plus 100 strength setting for this one. So, like I mentioned, Mallow can be tricky to work with. First thing you want to do is use her Train Move to raise her critical hit rate and accuracy. That will make Power Whip more reliable. Turn 2, you want to use Theater Dance to confuse the enemy field and activate Mallow's Fuzzy Strike and Multiplier. Why use Theater Dance turn 2 and not turn 1? The reason is that Gardenia has a Listen Confusion 8, so she has a fair chance of shaking off Confusion and activating Resilience. We are hoping that doesn't happen, but delaying Confusion is a preventative measure. Note I also launched a dropkick on Cacturne. When done right, with the combination of Mallow's multipliers, Blue is Stat Races and Tech Lithium is Grassy Terrain, you should have a clean left Sidemon denial. Now we can arrange a similar process for Gardenia herself. Give Breloom the Steppy to accumulate pecking order boosts, and Lush Blue should finally have some time to click Stomp. Flinch is functionally identical to Sleep, sans the consistency, but Stomp can follow the same rules of a Sleep Chain. If all goes fine and dandy, Mallow should knock out Gardenia with her second Sync move, despite Gardenia's best efforts to weaken Pecking Order with X Attack all. But if Gardenia recovers from Confusion and Resilience blocks you from reapplying it, this battle is probably going to post-sync. But that's alright. You have Blue is Defense Races as well as Mallow's attack drops to give you some wiggle room. By the way, Lithium was putting work with Razor Leaf this entire time. It was silently weakening Parasect to put it on knockout range for Mallow. How nice. This clear was more so a lesson on using Mallow as a damage dealer, but there is a reason I EX her. I think she's fun. Last but not least, we are facing off against Sylan, and this is the Weather Gimmick stage, with no special rules at least. Sylan's team summons Rain upon entry, but what's peculiar is that Sylan himself doesn't have a single Rain passive, it's his teammates that benefit from Rain. If you pay close attention, Ludicolo summons Rain, and it has strong water type attacks. Besides that, both Ludicolo and Shinotic have Refreshing Rain 1. This stage has a strange dichotomy with Sylan doing his own thing with strong physical attacks, and the Sidemons abusing Rain with special moves. The consequence is that I don't think you have to remove Rain. Like, yeah, the Ludicolo is going to hurt like a bitch, but you could just stagger its turn. At the end of the day, Sylan is attacking more often. That said, you might as well bring Sun anyway. It is a bonus challenge, and many grass type pairs have the option. For example, several top scores bring Adaman for this fight. His Sun overrides Sylan's Rain, and his Xenopride Master Passive gives you some extra coverage for Sylan's physical attacks. Lyra is the Adaman at home version. She's got Solarize, Light Screen, and Team Toughen Up 4 to cover for most of Sylan's antics. There is also Sinasud Erika for the straight damage dealer alternative. Like the team I brought for Erika's stage, which was Shona plus Sinasud Erika plus Strike Rookie, will also work perfectly fine for Sylan. If you bring Sun, you can also resort to pairs who benefit from the archetype. For example, OG Erika is a monster tank under Sunny Day. She's got Healing Zone 2, she maximizes both of her defenses, so she can tank Sylan for a while. In my case, I scrapped the bottom of the barrel with Gardenia. I like her, but she's Brendan at home for a reason. Gardenia has to deal with the Leaf Storm debuffs, which you can correct with Dauntless as a lucky skill. But unlike Brendan, Gardenia's kit is somewhat better equipped to handle debuffs. For instance, Gardenia's trainer move reverses stat drops. Let's say that Gardenia uses Leaf Storm thrice. That will drop her down to -6 special attack, but her trainer move converts that into +6 special attack, and she can then use her Sunny Disposition Greedy passive to maintain her stat races. And this is a combo we can use thanks to Lyra is Solarize. Third slot went to Sleep Eggmon for some good old-fashioned cheese. Lyra is not terribly tanky, so she appreciates some staggers. However, Take a Bellsprout lacks a Troublemaker 1 as an innate passive, so you have to give it the lock skill for accurate sleep powders. Gardenia is gridded for pure DPS, what with Lyra nuking for her. For this last sequence, we're going with a strength setting of plus 100, nice and easy. To be perfectly honest, this clear is very similar in execution to that Ramos clear we had going earlier with Brendan, Rosa and our own Ramos. The key here is proper sleep management. You want to follow the turn order with your sleeper while ensuring you have enough spare gauge to cast a sleep powder. Lyra's trainer move raises the party's speed, which is very helpful for that, but hold that thought for a second. Her trainer move actually improves when used under Sunny Day. It doubles her stat raises, so it's better to wait for Solarize to activate before using it. Until then, we can depend on Gardenia. Gardenia's trainer move, besides stat reversals, also has a fun perk where it recharges a couple gauges, so we can rotate that between sleep powders to ease our rotation. If you are still struggling for gauge, you could greet Gardenia with trainer move Bogo 9, which frees up 2 Leaf Storms worth of gauge. Oh, don't forget to use a light screen on Lyra's dead turns, that is, if you feel that Bellsprout won't be able to stop an attack from Ludicolo or Shinotic. Light screen helps cushion the blow. Much like in the Ramos clear, Sleep gave me some spare turns, so I spent some time distributing damage across the board rather than knocking out Sylan at the first opportunity. Sleep works best in isolation, so work towards that. And that's it. An unfortunate aspect of this team is that it suffers on the more attacks metric, but this is what I have to work with. And with that, we are done with this high score event. Man, compared to the Fire high score event, this was a breeze. The stages are much more reasonable, the challenges are less dumb, grass type pairs are generally better structured, and you have sleep for a cheese. However, the byproduct is that it's easier to get points, so you have to push higher if you want the medal, perhaps upwards of 240k points. But I actually believe these teams can reach that. I was very reserved with my string settings, so if you want to push for that, hey, I believe in you. Thank you for watching, take care, and I hope to see you another time.